Hi, my name's Emily, and my Etsy store is Yesterday Stash. Today I'm here to talk to you or to show you this book that I have just recently completed. And I wanted to spend some time showing you this book. It's a junk journal. And 99% of my junk journals have reused, repurposed, or materials that were either gifted to me or that I inherited or from the old home place, from my mom's stash, my sister's stash, friends that have emptied out their sewing rooms and giving me stuff. So anyway, most of this book is going to consist of that. But there are a few things that I have purchased that are new. These roses, I did purchase them new because I wanted them to be exactly the right rose, the right size, and so forth and so on. So that is something that I purchased full price. The paper that I'm using is from a company called Dixie Belle, and it is called DixieBellePaint.com is what it is. And I did get this at a thrift store, but it was full price, and it was 3 sheets of this like really thin kind of, well, it's called decoupage paper is what it is. And it doesn't seem like it wants to let me open it today. Here it is. So this is it. Comes in sheets like this, and there it is. It's called DixieBellePaint.com, and it's called a palette wood pattern decoupage paper. So I used that both on the front and the back of the book. Actually, what I did first was I put, oh my goodness, my cat's come up and joined us. So first I put my, some newsprint. This is actually from a book, an old journal that, that I picked up at the thrift store. And then I added Craftex, a layer of Craftex in here, and that's what I used as my spine. Okay, so this is, it's put together by Sari Silk, which I ordered from an Etsy seller. Because I have an Etsy store, I like to support my fellow Etsy sellers, specifically for digital kits, but I mean I buy other things as well. And I put a Tree of Life here as kind of a little charm. So the whole book is 6 by 8 with about a 2.5 inch spine is what they usually are. It has 3 signatures, and each signature, as it turned out, when I finished the book and I started counting the pages, I realized that each signature is a different number. How that happened, I don't know, but one of the signatures is like 11 pages, one's 14 pages, and so forth and so on. So when you get down to it, yeah, one is 18 pages, one is 14 pages, and one is 22 or 11 or 7 or 9. So anyway, I used Aida cloth, which is right here, and I used corrugated cardboard that I did. I bought the Aida cloth at the thrift store. The corrugated cardboard comes from, I did order that on Amazon. And when you order it, you just, it comes like this. You know, whereas many times what we do is we take a piece of cardboard and we, you know, try to separate the corrugated part from, it's two-sided, but with corrugated that you buy by itself, you know, it's truly, it's got one side is corrugated and the other side is not. So wanted to point out that that was something that I used on the front and the back covers, on the inside, the front and the back covers. So the book itself is named after, I'm calling it, let's see if I can find the card that's in here. It's a book to comfort. It's a comfort book. Take comfort, if you will. And it has lots of comfort statements in it. And one of them is what I chose to use as the, but anyway, when I get to it, I'll point it out. But what I did here was it has a, I actually put the signature sewed I sewed it to the Craftex, and then on the one side I started adding some lace. I think I have a lace panel in here, and then I have two doilies that I have glued that are in here. So that's what is consistent of this, and those all came from the thrift store or were gifted to me or found items. This is a set of a dozen or so these little rosy looking pinks with this nice translucent ribbon. It came, you know, like somebody was doing that to separate for a wedding. It looked like it was part of some wedding goods. And I put some of these leaf this leaf trim in here. So that's what kind of makes up this cluster here. All right, so when we move on, it is a total of 54 pages, front and back 108. And I do use supplies from a company called Wish, and I will show you them. When you first come here to the inside is a book ownership from the library of or whatever. And then right here are some pieces of foam, actually, that I found in the at the thrift store, and I can't get to it right now because my cat is sitting on top of it, and I don't want to disrupt everything. So this is kind of a little pocket, and then I found these hopeful kind of statements from an Etsy seller, and this one, you know, is courage. I also used a lot of Etsy sellers advertisements. This is a transportation, the Pennsylvania Railroad transportation. I just really loved some of the advertisements that some of the Etsy sellers that I purchased from had. So there's several themes going on here. Number one, hopeful statements or comforting statements. Number two, I like to provide variety. And I like to use Etsy sellers digitals, and then whatever I can find at the thrift store that fits with what I'm doing. So the first signature is here, and I like to have a lot of room in between my my signatures so that the book will close without having to, you know, it doesn't do that pop open thing. And in this, I have used several different kinds of trim, fabric, lace. This is a basil product that I bought. I did pay full price for that. I've got some glassine. This is glassine fabric or material. And then this is an example of some of the things that I order and get from Wish. It's old papers of just different assortments of, this looks like maybe out of a phone book or something like that. So, and then tried to have, so as far as there's over 20 trims and ribbons, laces, fabric, laces, so forth. So this is some fabric that I tore apart to use with this. So, oh, here it is. It's called A Little Word. This is what I mean by comfort statements. This says, a little word in kindness spoken, a motion or a tear has often healed the heart that's broken and made a friend sincere. So that's just part of this poem. So the name of the book is called A Little Word. I like to take what what's in the book to name it. And as a matter of fact, this is book 13, lucky 13, of my Hopeful 2021 series. If you have looked at my previous videos or seen my books in the past, I embarked on a Hopeful 2021 theme in hopes that 2021 would be better than 2020. Now we're probably looking at 2022 being better than 2021. So anyway, I have lots of different tags that have statements of various, comforting thoughts. I did add some stamps to this. This is the back of another advertisement from an Etsy seller. And then this came from a book of illustrated inspirations is what it's called. And it says we should not deprive others of their blessings simply because we can't enjoy them ourselves. And then, so I've just moved along here to, through this first signature at what we have, more ads. I don't have quite enough journal pages, so what I have done is added some loose journaling sheets, pages, that stuck them in pockets, and I'll show you them as we go along. This particular book here, this really pretty book that I found, it was, I think, a 1987. It's called Friends and Family Organizer. I have pulled everything out, and it's D. Morgan. I don't know, but anyway, it was a organizer or a date book planner, if you will, for the year 1987, and there were some of the most beautiful buildings and settings and so forth. That's where I got that from. Some of the examples of the papers that I used, I already mentioned that I used the glassine bags, and this particular is a piece of wallpaper, and on this side is an interesting piece of silver paper that I found at the thrift store, that it was so thin that I had to, I really couldn't use it as a page. But it looks like somebody was doing some printing through a printing machine, doing something artsy with a piece of gold. Or maybe it's silver foil or whatever. But most of the pages that I've used or have put of these, there was just like this huge stack of about 30 of these. And so I brought them home and decided I was going to do something with them. And so what I ended up doing was backing them with either wallpaper or with scrapbooking paper, or backing it up against each other. So just an example of how you can find the weirdest things in a thrift store, and that's what this is right here. And this is a little library. This is an example of where you can just find interesting pieces of paper. This is from the Royal Horticulture Society. And just to give you an example of what you can find, this is called My Brilliant Ideas, and it was just, you know, it would be great to be able to use this for your brilliant ideas, but also just to journal on if you wanted to. Another example would be bridge score pads. These are this is one of those that you magnet to something magnet. And, you know, these are the types of things you just can tear out and fold and put into pockets. This one actually was put together, and I haven't opened it yet. It was 50 cents. And it's got a bunch of these papers through one binder or whatever. I forget what these are called. But anyway, just examples right and left of how you can find things. And this from the Royal Horticulture Society is an example. This is a weekly plan. So I use them for, you know, for ways for journaling on. This is an interesting, I have a river birch tree in my front yard, and I actually covered it with a piece of, go on. I actually covered it with a piece of cork wallpaper, but I did kind of a sewing experiment, you know, sewing with these. What I did was I went out to my yard, and I pulled a bunch of them off, and then I washed them, let them dry, and so they make great, you know, textures on book pages. So I'm using them, and that's an example of that. So, and then the signature is here, and I found these interesting. I got these, ordered these from an Instagram seller, and she had a random set of ephemera, and that's what I found. Did some collaging on some of the pages. This paper clip here has a couple of these comfort statements in here that I used and paper clipped on here, but did some collaging. Used acetate paper, acetate on pages that particularly were attractive looking pages. I found these at, I can't remember if it was Michael's or someplace, but they're cards that you can, you know, use for journaling on. And these are positive statements. You are so awesome, and so forth and so on. So that's just another way that, because I didn't have very many pages to, well, I think I have about 19 pages or sides that you can do some journaling on. This is more from that, I guess her name was Deborah Morgan. This came out of that book, and I put it on one of those silver foil papers. Another. And then this is the end of the second. I have here a piano roll paper that I used for texture. So wallpaper, a glassy piano roll paper, all different papers to provide some interest to the book. This is an interesting something that I found. It was rubber banded together, and it's called Packing Checklist. It's from a company called Levenger, and it was at the fabric, Levenger, Levenger, and it's just little cards. It's called Pre-Travel Checklist, Packing Checklist, and Trip Summary. And I just thought they were so neat and very usable. So, a map in here, another piece of wallpaper. So that is generally what is in each of the signatures is an assortment of papers that could be used for journaling on. This is an example of a paper that comes from Wish. Wish.com is a company that I order from. If you have a store in the area that deals with Wish, you can really save on the shipping by using, it's called Wish, WISH.com, but they have some really interesting papers that I have found I enjoy using just for a variety. So Wish.com, and that's an example of that. I did some doodling and some playing around, music paper, and this is an example of where I took two small pieces of paper and I joined them together with fabric. So I put fabric in between, so the other side has the other has the rest of the fabric, and it comes together wherever the other side is. We'll find it. Using handmade paper. This is an example of where I use some of those magnetic, notepads, reminder kinds of pads. This is where I played with some handmade paper and used what we call yo-yos with. And more doodling. And so I've got something stuck here. Don't know what it is. Oh, I added a piece of fabric right here. But this is where I took several pieces of fabric and put them together with a zigzag stitch and made a pocket. And then this is that weekly planner. Used some wildflowers that I cut out of a wildflower book. This is a store-bought kit. I think it's a K & Company. This is from the Kitchen Of. These are recipe cards that you can take out and use. These are two greeting card or two card with the envelopes that you can use. And so those can be taken out and used. Different places to journal. This is more of the paper from Wish. You can paper clipped it on here. And this is where I have really interesting buttons that I ran across. And I found an Etsy seller that had these button cards. And you actually put your own buttons on them and sell them. I mean, add them to your, to make an embellishment or a piece of ephemera. I found some a stack of bingo cards at a thrift store. Music paper. This is the other side of that, where I took about this much fabric and I joined them together with music paper. This music paper is so old that it doesn't fold without cracking or breaking, so that's why I use that. This is a window. You can pull this out. I think you can, and put something else in it if you like. Yeah. So you can add your own card to it if you like. This is a coffee notepad that I ran across. More of those comfort quotes or comfort sayings. The Rita Donnelly fold, and this is more of Wish paper. This is paper from Wish. And then I'm almost through. This is another example of an interesting find. I just found a stack of cardboard, pieces of cardboard. And I thought they would be great to put some sort of collaged tag. So I took, what is it called? Gesso. And then I added a piece of vellum. I dotted the gesso on it, added a piece of vellum from Wish, and then added a dried flower and kind of made it into a little tag. And this is an envelope that I cut down to make into a little pocket. Just a lot of fun to make these books. They just are so inspiring. I get so inspired by how to take what I have and use it and make things that are fun and interesting. This is a watch, an old watch advertisement. So advertisements are another sort of theme. This is a whole sheet of different advertisements from an Etsy seller. And that's it. This is the Bridge score sheet. So I did try to add several places where you can actually make or, you know, just pull this out and use it for notes. And this is one of those that you can tear off the notes. So this is called a Little Word, I think. Yes, and it's named after this. So the name of the book is A Little Word. Again, it will be for sale in my Etsy store. The name of my Etsy store is Yesterday's Stash. Oh, I also have on the back, I have another little charm on the back. This is, I have sworn to myself that I would not go to a thrift store for the rest of this month, because I recently have gone to like 5 or 6 different thrift stores. We were on, you know, traveling for the summer, and it just found some really, really interesting things. So this will be for sale. Yesterday's Stash is all one word, all lowercase. Yesterday's Stash is the name of my Etsy shop. So thanks again for coming along. Please like and subscribe to my channel, and we look forward to talking to you again.